You might have done a few more, but let's finish up with this arm. So we're going to go 1, cut my chair open, 2, 3, and get that. I was just saying, getting that weight transferring from leg to leg helps. 5, 6. Let's switch that to the other arm. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Let's go back to our dominant arm. Let's work on our downwards diagonals. And last week we were talking about this sort of bracing of the wrist with the fingertips of the other hand. So we're cutting down 1, 2, 3, transferring some mass. 4, think of using your legs as part of your cut. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We'll go to the non-dominant arm, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. We'll have it back to the dominant arm, and let's work on rising diagonals. So now we're coming up from underneath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Change the non-dominant arm, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Okay, let's now work as part of our warm-up on our wrist strength. So this is where we're trying to keep the sword a little bit more out in the front, and we're rolling through the wrist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Working that wrist. Let's go non-dominant, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's go to dominant and rising. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great for grip strength and forearm strength, especially if you're working with something with a little bit of weight to it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. In our foundations today, let's talk about some of the thrusting techniques that we've been looking at. So we've got this idea of turning the sword over, and we had 2 different thrusts from here. We had one that keeps the edge up, and one that spirals the edge down. And we're kind of opening away from that. So let's do a bit of a drill. We're going to go circle, thrust, circle, and out. 2, 3, 4. So you've got your first thrust and then the second one. 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's that roll of the wrist. 9, and last one, 10. Let's go to the non-dominant arm because we're still working on our strengthening section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one, 10. Excellent. Okay, so the other thrusts that we've been looking at is we've had this short forward thrust, and then last week we went and we curved that upwards. So let's try that. We're going push up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go to the non-dominant arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Okay, so let's go one more sort of bit from the set. We've been working on creating that 180-degree turn, chop, palm, deflect, and thrust technique we've been working on. It's sort of like we were calling it the mini set inside of this. So let's start out. We'll go left leg forward, and we're turning. We're kind of resting a little bit the sword on the arm, and then we're cutting down, and then we're stepping in. Then we're deflecting out. And here's our next thrust, that sliding horizontal thrust. Then we went for a horizontal cut. We bumped with the handle, and then we turn. So we turn in, we chop down, lift up into crane, palm strike, deflect, brush, thrust, roll back horizontal, press. So we do an inside turn, resting the sword on the forearm. We slide back to cut, pulling the leg out of the way, stepping in with the palm, rolling back, deflecting, stirring the pot, setting up for the short thrust, and then following through with the horizontal, cut through, press in, turn, chop, step, roll back, deflect, short thrust to long horizontal thrust, horizontal cut, press. We'll do one more on each side. Turn, chop, palm, roll, deflect, brush, thrust, draw, press, turn, jaw, cut, palm strike, roll back, deflect, short thrust to longer horizontal, cut back, press out. Not a bad little sequence just to kind of, if you want to get yourself used to working with the sword to learn and kind of play from side to side. And you can work out maybe not full 180s. You can start to play and expand with it. The nice thing is once you get it, that sequence, you don't have to think about what comes next. You can start to think about how to fill that up, to change, to find different ways to use it. Okay, so one of the things that we were working on last week was transferring the sword from this rising thrust. So we were driving up from underneath. We had that thrust to throat height, but then we continued through and we brought the sword over the shoulder. And we're going to cradle that. We're going to exchange it. So I'll face the other way here. So I'm coming up and I'm going to circulate that so I can remove and balance in the other hand. Now, this is where I got so busy talking about these kind of arcs earlier, I added one to this section that isn't there. It comes up later, and it's in lots of other sets, which is why my muscle memory was sending me there. So for now, let's just go thrust up from underneath, capture, and now what we're going to do is we're going to hold this like pung, and we're going to go kick and palm strike. So last we were kind of opening out, didn't feel right, and I went back and worked on it. And I remembered, nope, we do not open like that. We just rested in pung. So my apologies if you've got that into your muscle memory incorrect from last week. So up from underneath, capture or transfer, lift, kick, step, palm. Two more times on this side, and we'll do it a couple on the other. So in the set, we've ended up lifting up high, coming around to that hook stance, coming over the shoulder, and then we're driving in that thrust. Up, over, kick, palm. So we had done this spiraling thrust. We drop to deflect. We're bumping with pung here with our left arm as we turn into that hook stance. We're then, like the open hand Tai Chi, you're kind of holding the ball as we come around. And then we're going to catch with that forearm and push. We want to learn how to brace the sword with our other arm a lot. There's a lot of saber techniques for close range where we're pushing with the saber. And as we do that, we're going to slide out. And now this is a bit of a wind up. I'm sliding this out, but I'm also pulling my sword back so I can thrust forward. So as my weight starts to transfer, I'm thrusting forward. Then I thrust up to that rising throat. I come over to collect. I'm taking the back leg through and I'm kicking and then I'm stepping in. So I'm kind of pressing with the sword and the palm at this point. Let me do that facing the other way a couple of times. So we had stirred the pot on our last of that sequence. Instead of coming to our horizontal thrust, we stepped up to this rising thrust. We then deflected. There's that hook stance work that we were doing. Remember, not coming forward, but coiling in. We open up with the pung. We're deflecting with the back of the sword. We're getting that over the shoulder drape. We're wrapping around. We're pulling it over our shoulder. We're getting our forearm in there, and we're pressing to wind up, Then we're stepping in. We're getting that short thrust to the rising thrust to the transfer. Kick with right leg. Step in with right leg and right palm. One more time. So I've stirred the pot. I'm going to thrust, but instead of ending up here, I'm going to keep that going and thrust up high. So I'm spiraling that thrust. I'm deflecting. So you're thinking about using the edge, the back side of the blade to knock something away. As I knock something away, I'm bumping and sitting into my hook stance. I'm wrapping. I'm draping over. I'm pulling that sword onto my forearm and I'm pressing out. And then I'm driving out of that back leg, pushing through into that rising thrust, continuing through to transfer the sword to my non-dominant arm, kicking and palm striking. Better do that one more time. So, stir, step up, crane thrust, hook stance, bump and deflect, empty stance, draw through, forward bow, thrust up underneath, transfer, kick with right leg, press with right palm. Okay, so let's put our swords down momentarily, and we will come back to those. If you've done the 108 Tai Chi, you've probably done, or if you've learned the shoot the tiger, or if you've worked in Mai Jung La Horn and you've done the hero's pose, we have a lot of this continuity of pull down, pull down. So we're thinking potentially elbow strikes and covers. Boom, 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 boom. 1, 2. Now the next part of this shoot the tiger idea are these circulating punches. So we can either drop down and hit low, or we can drop down and hit high. Drop down and hit low, drop and high. So we want to get comfortable with this kind of open spiral drive down. And this is a lot about how to work a dropping elbow technique, where you're coming over and you're smashing down with the elbow. This is also a way of stripping grips, where you come over the person's arm and drive it off of you. Now, at the same time, we've got that circular motion. This can also be about potentially hammering with the edge of the hands as well. Boom, boom. Closing the body and deflecting with the pinky side of the arm. Cover, cover, dunk, dunk. And then we have this circulation of punching. Now, I won't go too detailed into the punching, but we want to get this sense that there's a spiral occurring in the punch. We're rolling the palm out, whether we're hitting low, boom, and palm down, or whether we're hitting high and palm out. Now, we also want to be able to split those levels so we can hit at both levels simultaneously. So what happens is we can go one arm, as that arm's falling, the other one's rising. As that arm's dropping, I'm circulating out to hit, and then I'm hitting with the other side. Now that can be 1, 2, low and high. 1, 2, high and low. So we want to get comfortable coming in with both of those. Now in the empty hand version, we've got a palm down and a palm out. But I can hear you saying, well, what do we do if we've got a sword in our hand? How do we make this work? So let's pick up our swords again, just because we're running out of time for today. And now we want to go here. Let's not worry too much about the circuit, but we want to think about, well, how do we punch with a sword? We punch with the pommel. So we could go high, boom, and hit with the pommel, low, boom, hit with the pommel, high and low. So we can have this settling and circulating, settling, boom, low, settling, high, come around and low, come around here, high. So what am I doing? I've got this in my non-dominant hand. That's my left hand. That means I am on to the right side of my opponent. That means there's a good chance I am sticking the pommel of my sword in my low hits into their liver. Bang. I'm going to shut them down by impacting with the pommel of the sword into the liver. If I'm hitting up higher, I'm going to be hitting at the neck and the jaw level. Boom. I could be going into the floating ribs. So I'm looking at attacking the right side of the body with this circulating. So if I want to get both things going, I'm going to get arm, sword, high, low, arm, sword, low, and high. So I've got both of these options. 1, 2, low, high. 1, 2, high and low. So I'm not going to add this into the set today. I'm going to, because the difficult part is that we're going to have 180-degree turns at the same time as doing this kind of motion. So we're going to have to get used to turning and getting that shoot the tiger motion happening, turning and creating that. And we'll add that in next week. Let's go through the set once up to the end of our palm strike. So we have our opening, out and down, and we're stepping. Pivoting on the right, we open up, roll back, stomp, come forward, pong, roll back, circulate the sword, but this time right hand overhead. Reach in for our transfer, we're coiling up, we lift, we step, we lift the right leg and cut low horizontal. Deflect, brush, thrust. Good. Roll back. Where am I? I'm so busy doing that other set, other part of the set now. I'm out here. So we're going to roll off and deflect low. Roll back, pick up high, and press out. Weight in left, lifting right leg, sword overhead. Weight into right leg, chop down. Here's our step through with the rising diagonal. Lead leg comes through and then reinforced on the 45. We're settling and then pressing out to palm. And now we're turning through the hook position, covering the sword hand with the non-dominant hand, and then we're thrusting out to the 45. Come through palm. Good. Roll back and press, brush, and chop. Now we're rolling back to deflect, and we're pressing out on the 45. Here's our mini set. Turn, chop, palm strike, deflect, brush, thrust, roll back, cover. That's what I wanted to do earlier. Bump, turn, chop, lift, and palm. Roll back, deflect, brush, and thrust. One more time. Horizontal cut, press with pung. Turn, chop down, lift up the right leg, step in, left palm strike, deflect, brush, and now here's where we're going to step up. So this hand is going to come around, and we're going to thrust up high. We're going to deflect, bump, gather around, drape over the shoulder, pull down, and here's that thrust up. We capture that in our left. We kick with our right, and we palm strike. And then we're going to turn 1, 2, and shoot the tag number 1. And then we're going to take it back the other way. Okay, unfortunately, we got to let it go for today. Hopefully, we're piecing these bits and parts together. If there's a section you want to see more of, if you want me to slow it down, let me know. And just text or email or catch me here after class. Thanks for training today.